G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. Today we have got ourselves quite the match. Two incredibly good players facing off against each other with two classic, original OG civilizations. Let's get into it. Spawning in on... We'll do this side first. Spawning in over on the west side in the color blue, playing as the Holy Roman Empire, it's Recon, aka Rack Attack. And on the east side of the map in the color yellow, playing as the Ottomans, it's Beastie. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We're here on Golden Pit, the pit with all the gold, and it's so damn good to be here. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Age of Empires 4 at the moment is feeling really good. I think Age of Empires 4 is the best it's ever been. There's nothing that's too overpowered at the moment. Because often, you know, whenever I'm thinking about, oh, Age of Empires 4, it sucks, it's because there's something overpowered and I'm getting beaten by it. But look, the reality is I'm the guy playing Juicy Legacy. I'm not the one having to complain about it. Anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing what the devs have got for us. There are rumors that there is a balance patch that is due to drop soon. So hopefully we get some changes to liven up the meta. It's always nice when you get changes. You know, one of the things that I've sort of learned over the years, even after playing, say, games like League of Legends, where there's hundreds of millions of players, is they still change things up. Even if you've got it perfect, you still switch it up. You know, like as an example, they had these items. So each champion can have up to 6 items. And the way it used to work is there were these things called mythic items, and you could only have one of them. And they brought it in, it stayed around for a couple seasons, but it's just gone. It's just gone for this season. They've just removed it. They're like, no, you can get any item you like, get as many as you want. You can, the mythic items, they're no longer mythic. So it's just like, you know, I think the same sort of idea could be applied to Age of Empires 4. And don't get me wrong, look, I think that there are games where obviously that just doesn't happen. You look at StarCraft as an example, and that was viewed by many to have perfect balance. I'm talking about the OG StarCraft, not StarCraft 2, because let's not talk about Protoss. But for the original StarCraft, I know the Koreans in particular absolutely thought there was no way you could make that game better. And I guess there's... Anyway, I guess there's different philosophies, aren't there, on how you can go about your game balance, and I guess StarCraft was truly timeless in that regard. But maybe one day we'll get there. Maybe one day we'll get somewhere where we don't have to actually tweak it. But anyway, let's get into it and talk about what we've got. So we've got Ottomans up against the Holy Roman Empire. Naturally, we do see that first spearman coming out, but there is already a counter on the field from the Holy Roman Empire, and it is this little man right here. Does he look bald to you? Kind of looks like he's got a little... Now, there's an option to do, I don't know how to do it. There's a camera that you can do where it's like free camera. I need to learn how to do the free camera because I want to go do an inspection. But anyway, he can heal up any of the damage that comes through from that spearman. So just keep that in mind. Plenty of vills over on gold as well. Rack Attack. Is he thinking about going for a quick castle age? I think he might be. Age up's definitely not the fastest here, and that's naturally going to be the case when you come out onto the deer. We'll take a little bit longer, and you can see the Holy Roman Empire. Whoa, he was going for it right there. The mine work. I think he realized, hold on, I'm playing HRE. I'm not playing the Order of the Dragon, so I will have to go for the Arkan Chapel. Now, I'm curious to see whether Beastie actually looks to put on pressure with this spear, and indeed he will come through. He spotted out the gold, sees the number of villagers here, and was that a villager moving for an outpost? It potentially could be. No, he's going to go in for a quick wall. Have a look at that. Really nice wall on the backside. Will completely deny any harassment on this gold vein unless you somehow manage to get a sneaky little spear through the back. And now Beastie running in underneath the town center. Villagers are going to jump inside, help out with a little bit more damage onto that spearman. Down to 32 health. Unfortunately went in the wrong way. I guess Beastie like rallied it somewhere around here, so it was just like he was expecting it to walk here, but it came around the shorter side, I guess. But it looks like Recon will manage to get the wall up, and with that, we'll guarantee the integrity of this gold vein. Now, have a look at this. Something very, very strange is that Recon is not rushing the Arkan Chapel. Now, there's a really good argument for rushing the Arkan Chapel, and that is because when you build the Arkan Chapel, it increases the gather rate by 40% of all of your villagers that are within that influence. So in this situation, there's a good chance you're probably going to hit gold, wood, all the food villagers as well. Now, the prelate is going to be buffing up, say, what is it, 8 or 9 villagers. whereas the Arkan Chapel will be every single villager, which is going to be 20 villagers. So there is definitely an argument for rushing this landmark up. So I find it quite interesting that Recon is not going to be rushing that up and instead just going to be taking it a bit slower. Of course, that does mean he'll have more resources because he is trending towards this Castle Age timing. Now, when it comes to Beastie, Beastie's hit the Feudal Age, has gone with the Twin Minaret Madrasa. I'm curious to see which angle he looks to go with regard to his Vizier points. Naturally, for me, Imams are the first choice I'm going to be going for in this matchup because it's really important that you get to Castle Age for crossbows. Crossbows are very, very important in dealing with the Holy Roman Empire. So we'll have to wait and see whether Beastie is going to take that route or whether he's going to go for something a little bit different. The outpost is coming down. This will get spotted out by Recon. He does see the outpost coming down. Back towards his opponent's base, he will see the 3 villagers on stone as well. We'll see only 200 taken off it, and we'll question, is that just going to be military schools, or is he going for a second TC? But most likely it will just be military schools. One of the things to keep in the back of your mind, though, is that the Holy Roman Empire naturally will be working towards Imperial Age. They will be working towards the Palace of Swabia. And naturally, if you don't go for that early second TC, if they do get to Imperial Age, it's going to be very difficult to overcome their strength. Just simply because that Swabia, once it starts printing, it does not stop printing. We've got Rakatak about to age up now. Prelate inside the Arkan Chapel. Definitely not the best coverage. Have a look at that. The gold ring for it. Looks like it hits the berries, the stone, a little bit of the wood, and of course, all of the villagers underneath the town center. But this is actually a pretty big brain. What did I say? Big brain strategy. How many deer were in this deer pack? Looks like 5. So he's exhausted 5 deer from this deer pack. Goes into the Burgrave. Of all things, the Burgrave. This landmark is considered by many to be absolutely useless. Now, there are circumstances, niche circumstances where it can apply. But the most common one that you see it is on meme maps. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about mountain clearing. A map where you are so close to your opponent, if you just build the burger, you throw it at them, well, it's actually going to do quite a lot of work. But here, on this map, you're very, very far away from your opponent. And naturally, it seems like, or at least it feels like, you're probably not going to be able to find too much room to move. One villager will go down, though. Looks like Beastie able to snipe that villager out with the outpost. The arrow slits have come through, and now going to be looking to put down that fortification as well. Now, one thing to note about the position here for Recon is that this is a very difficult position to fight from. Now, you might be asking, why is that, Drongo? And that is because on the map Golden Pit, there is a large amount of gold in the middle of the map. But when it comes to the extremities, the outside of this pit, there is not a lot. Now, there's relics, but there's no trading post, so you're not going to be able to get any traders out. And there's only 2 gold mines. Jeez, we're not Age of Empires 3, Drongo. Only 2 gold mines in each base. For Beastie, he's got 1 gold that's very close to his town center, to the top, and then 1 gold to the south, a little bit further away. Have a look where the second gold vein is, though, for Recon. Have a look at that. How you feeling right now, Recon fans? Not too hot. That is what I would suspect. This is a really difficult position to fight yourself out of because you need to actually kill this outpost. And the reality is it's going to take quite a bit of investment to actually kill it. Now, of course, Recon can just go into the middle of the map. He can just bring villagers up here, put 6 or 7 villagers on this gold vein in the center. If he really wants to, he can throw down the Swabia here as well, bring it to the front line. But the reality is he's in a tough spot. Beastie's about to age up, and you can see that behind this, he will be looking to throw down archery ranges because naturally he wants to move into crossbows. And so we need to wait for those to come through, but I assure you they will be online shortly. Villager coming back here for Beastie. Going to be spotted out by Recon. Recon now going on the aggressive. I don't think Beastie expected this, but I think this is quite a smart move from Recon because it means all of a sudden that he hasn't lost the game. Because the reality is there's 1 relic to the north that has been walled off. The second relic to the bottom has been camped up, and Beastie did go into the meta of all things. Doesn't look like it's got the speed boost, though. He must have gone Anatolian Hills. It's almost certainly Anatolian Hills. There's a lot of sheep under there. MIA coming through now. Still those relics towards the top side. Uncontested for the moment, and relic in the middle, but the men-at-arms will strike the villagers on the gold. We hear the first hits as 1 villager gets down to 2 health before evacuating into the town center. Town center firing away with its 6 damage arrows. We'll be doing some decent damage, but the men-at-arms have found the villagers on the MIA. Beastie needs to be very careful. You can see the first villager is being struck down here. The men-at-arms are able to overwhelm, and Beastie definitely going for those early upgrades. I'm thinking maybe that wheelbarrow was a little bit negligent of him in this matchup, but I guess he just wasn't expecting to see a Burgrave coming out so early from Rack Attack. He was definitely expecting a Castle Age, but the Burgrave in particular is what I think has caught him on the back foot. Villagers now going to get chased around. Beastie's evacuated from the town center. You can see that those villager kills are going to start to go in favor of Recon early on in this game. When it comes to his upgrades, he hasn't picked up any extra upgrades, so the villagers will be able to do about 2 damage a pop to them. But now 4 workers taken out so far. Men-at-arms underneath the town center. MIA is now producing the mangonels, but it will take some time to come out, and not to mention it's not particularly strong up against the men-at-arms. So pretty nice opening coming through here from Rack Attack to get control of the map. Keep in mind, men-at-arms continue to stream across this map, plenty of them. Villagers did indeed get moved out into the middle, and he has completely ignored that outpost towards the top side. Remember that this stack of men-at-arms that he's building up as well will naturally help out if he wants to go in and clear these palisade walls, or if he eventually wants to come back and clear this outpost as well. Men-at-arms going to continue harassing Beastie. Beastie definitely a little bit over his head at the moment. Has the 2 archery ranges down. Military schools both making crossbows. But Beastie losing a fair bit of tempo here. Imam's going to be coming through for him. Definitely, I think, a bit of a mistake going into Anatolian Hills. If we have a look here, you can see he's still got 6 sheep, 2 more than enough carcasses on the ground. I feel like it was probably a bit of a mistake, but I guess at this point, all the help that you can get at this early stage is going to, really, really matter. Now that meta might be going down. He's going to do a decent job of controlling here, and we can see the crossbow numbers are beginning to build. So naturally, the crossbow numbers, as they rise, will get better at taking out the men-at-arms. However, there are mitigating returns on these crossbows. Ideally, we don't want to be going any more than, say, 30 crossbows. There are games where you go more than that, but then you open the risk or run the risk of meeting your fate of that being a very, very strong mangonel shot or 2. So you've got to be very careful of that. But now, those numbers of men-at-arms have started to slow. He's on 12 men-at-arms. Where does he go from here? It looks like it's going to be an outpost in the middle of the map. 0 relics for either, for both of these players. Neither of them picking up any relics just yet. Imam moving out into the middle. Will look to be picking up this relic. Second Imam going towards the top side. So Beastie going to be able to snag away 2 of the relics. Keep in mind not... Oh, I take it back. Manages to pick up that relic. We'll be looking to get a springwood emplacement on this outpost. So needs to start allocating some villagers over onto the stone outcropping immediately, because he wants to get that springwood emplacement in, make this a very difficult to attack position. That's going to be very key for him. Men-at-arms now looking to chase down these crossbows. We can see they've picked up their +1 ranged armor. Have they picked up their movement speed, though? Where is that blacksmith? There it is. Movement speed coming through now. Marching drills on the way. This will help him out a little bit. At the moment, he's got 1.12 movement speed on the men-at-arms compared to the 1.12 of the crossbows. Just wait until those marching drills are through, though. You're going to have yourself a nice little boost to that. Relic inside the outpost now. Will mean that he'll be looking for that springwood emplacement. Beastie's got enough for it, but unfortunately, Recon is the one that we should be watching. Doesn't quite have it just yet. So 1 relic apiece at this stage of the game. Second relic will be picked up by Beastie on the backside. Keep in mind that the Regnitz is not in play here for Rack Attack, which means that it's not really that important that he gets the relics. He still wants them, right? Just like every civ wants the relics. But it's not as important. It's not as critical that he gets it. A lot of villagers here on gold as well. Could there be a switch in play? Indeed there is. It's going to be a horseman switch. Have a look at this. We've got double horseman switch. The men-at-arms towards the north. Beastie trying to keep this Imam alive. The boar is here as well. He probably could have attacked the boar and kept the boar attacking the Imam. Imam struck down very, very quickly. Meta going to be moving out here as well. That attack speed bonus going to be helping out plenty in this situation, as the boar does indeed get lured, exactly as you suspect. Mangonel comes out, and now those relics are on the way in. Keep in mind, behind this, a single relic remains out on that field, yet to be taken by either of these players. Second relic now brought in for Recon. We'll be throwing down another outpost on the front line Springled emplacement on the way through here. Expect to see these fortified as well. Expect to see that. I really wouldn't be surprised if he even considers going for an Elsbach. I don't think he would, though, just because Elsbach is very much in this. You know, if he'd gone 2 TC to open with and played a little bit in feudal, then Elsbach would definitely make sense, because by the time he goes to Imperial Age, then he's going to be looking at, you know, 90 to 100 villages. So Swabia doesn't really make much sense. Whereas here, 47 villages, you've still got quite a bit of room to go with regard to your economy. We want to cap out at about 130 vills, but in this situation as the Holy Roman Empire, you can probably even push that to 150, 160. We've seen some players push towards as well. Springled emplacement is through. Have a look at the range on this bad boy. 10.8 tiles. It outranges a bombard. That is a springled emplacement and a half. That is for sure. Compare that to the one over here. Well, there's no springled emplacement through just yet. I think the base range is 8. With the relic, we can see that it does increase weapon range by 20%. So, no, it would be the base range would be 9 then, right? Yeah, 9. Because it would be 1.8. I think. I think my maths is correct. I hope my maths is correct. Anyway, we'll check in with Beastie. We'll see how he's doing. On that north side of the map, the walls are beginning to come up for him. He's got a villager heading down to do it. 4 military schools are online with the MIA. He is looking to complete that Exodia. He's got all 5 pieces. Now he's just got to play the cards and get it down right. Beastie continuing to build with this military population. Have a look at it. He's already up quite a bit. 43 military pop here. 45 now compared to 24 of his opponent. The big factor here is going to be those springled emplacements, though. A lot of people will consider them and just sort of offset them. Not offset them, but just say, well, we don't really have to think about those springled emplacements. Well, you would be making a mistake, my friend. These springled emplacements are incredible in their flexibility. Not only are they able to serve as just deterrents from general units, but they also, if you dare push up underneath them, can serve as anti-siege. If your opponent tries to push up with a couple of mangonels underneath those outposts, then very, very quickly, ooh, Beastie gets a nice spot right there on the horseman. Immediately, he sees the horseman. He's jumped into Janissaries. It's probably quite a few already in the first place. You can see the Janissary number now rising. He's up to 7. Could look to go into Janissary Company here. And I think going into Janissary Company might actually be his best play. Because he lost all those villages early, his momentum is going to be a little bit lackluster right now in this mid-game. So we'll switch it over to the income per minute. Let's get a bit of an idea on where these two players stand. So at the moment, it's looking about 2,000 resources a minute for Rack Attack compared to Beastie, who sits on a similar amount, a little bit lower, I would say. But keep in mind, Beastie does have a lot of passive income that's coming through in the form of those military schools. But the number's still pretty damn good. You can see that he hasn't gone into that advanced academy just yet. We'll check in on that top side. It looks like we've got that wall being worked down ever so slowly. It will take some time. But that scout doing a really good job. Dividends being returned already just for that single scout. He's got quite a lot of Janissaries out already, so perhaps he's just not thinking he needs to go into any kind of spearman. We do see the first of the spears out, though. Has he switched into a barracks? Second TC will come down. The TC is definitely, you know, he's gone for the second TC. My fear is that it might just be a little bit late. Rack Attack, it feels almost imminent that he's going Imperial Age. I guess if Beastie threw down another TC as well, because 2 TCs he's going to get outboomed for sure. 3 TCs, he'll be able to keep up with the Swabia. It'll take some time to get there. But, I mean, even then, you're up against the Holy Roman Empire in the Imperial Age. Not normally a place you want to be. And you can see right there, the boar is sunk through the map because, unfortunately, when the Ottomans kill the boar, it just disappears. All the food of it. Yeah, I think about the Imperial Age for the Holy Roman Empire, and it's definitely a civilization I want to steer clear of. Just the fact that they've got Culverin really make it quite a strong counter to civilizations like the Ottomans, which love to move into that siege-heavy composition in the late game. Expect to see your great bombards come out if Beastie does make it to Imperial Age. At the moment, he definitely has the military advantage. The question is whether he wants to flex it or not. And as soon as that Imperial Age comes through, I will suspect he probably doesn't, just because he will know a Culverin is imminent. We'll wait and see, though, because the resources for Rack Attack not quite there yet, but a single Culverin would be enough to take out these 3 mangoes. And it's going to be difficult for these ranged troops to actually take down the outposts, so he's going to need to bring them up. First of the springled emplacements starts working. It's going to be a mangonel coming out here for recon. Won't be looking for the Culverin just yet. You can see he's going to need 400 wood. Looking to round the corner a little bit. Springled emplacements not yet firing down at the mangoes. Perhaps just aware that he could just move into a Culverin and be absolutely fine here. You can see still lacking those resources. Beastie just going to be going past. He says, I'm not even interested in the Springwood emplacement. Outposts. I'm just going to go straight past. And now we've got ourselves, we're heading into the cinematic mode. Beastie is miles ahead right now. He is 71 military population. He is hiding inside the stealth forest, going up the hill, looking to wrap around. From that stealth forest, he finds the Swabia. And now those range units will have the opportunity they have been looking for. Big damage coming in on that Swabia. Keep in mind, he's got emergency repairs in play. Mangonels firing off towards that outpost. You know there's an emplacement about to come through. I think it's going to be... He's just cancelled it. It was the cannon emplacement. Outpost will go down. And now in the front, a little bit exposed Recon is as Beastie picks up the relic and yoinks it away. And now the Swabia is in real trouble. Now, he's got two options with this relic. Number one, he can keep it with the army to deter any range or any melee units, such as those horsemen that we'd seen earlier. Number two is that he can look to take it back to the base and just keep it safe there. I'd definitely be a bit more of a fan of that first option, as we do now start to see those cavalry units rounding towards that top side, looking to try and intercept this battering ram. Not going to be able to find it. The first of the Mangonels has gone down. You can see, looks like Recon is going to be working down these two on the back line. Battering ram definitely getting its worth right here as it takes out. And keep in mind, there is another relic here, which will mean that Beastie now takes 4 of the 5 relics. Actually, yeah, no, that is 4 of the 5 relics. 5th relic is in here. He stole all of the relics right now. That is a feels bad moment. Culverin comes out. First shot hits. Second shot, not going to be able to get close enough for that second shot. I would almost be tempted to say that's a bit of a mistake there from Recon. If you've got 2 units right there that you can one-shot with your Culverin, you actually want to shoot the one that's furthest away first so you can guarantee the kill on the second one. There you go, boys. A little bit of, and girls, a little bit of a hot Drongo tip for you. Make sure you put that one into use in your multiplayer games, in your big 4v4s. Check in, though, and see how Recon is doing behind the scenes. You can see those houses coming up. He's preparing for the late game. The farm transition's looking pretty solid back here. He's up to 17 farms. Not the best, you know, not really the heart and soul of the Holy Roman Empire farmland just yet. But the forward keep coming down. In fact, something that Beastie has neglected is control of this central location. Keep in mind, he has already mined out that first gold mine. The second one currently working on it. He's down to 3k on it, so 75% of the way of the way to go. He does have the relics though. 4 relics on his side. Feels like he's looking towards that Imperial Age. Definitely the right call for him, but it's going to be tough playing up against Culverin in the Imperial Age, especially considering your opponent is on Swabia. And have a look at this. Pylus of Swabia is pumping. Wallalol. It looks like it might be in the back of the base just to distract the caster. Cancels out that keep in the middle. Mangonel shots come a little bit short, but he will expose them. So 3 Mangos now going to be coming out here for Recon. And Beastie is going to be in a bit of a tough spot. We enter once again into the cinematic mode. These guys look like they're getting ready to dance. And you know what time it is? It's time to watch these Mangos. One of my favorite games to play whenever we're at the markets is watch the Mangos. Nice little dodges. Beastie definitely knows how to duck, dip, dive, dodge, and dodge, because I forgot to mention the first one. Anyway, it's starting to look a little bit better at the moment for Recon. I'm a bit worried about Beastie, mainly just from the economic perspective, because he is going into the Istanbul Observatory. That's going to help carry him into the late game, but you've just got one of those mismatched synergies. Not mismatched, but mismatched matchups, I guess you could call it. You know, whenever I'm referring to things like in the early game, right? Like the French versus the English, how the French naturally get a bonus that counters the English bonus. That being, they get access to the School of Cavalry, which makes cavalry, which naturally counters the English longbowmen that they get to make naturally from their council hall. It's the same thing here, where the Holy Roman Empire have access to the Culverin, which naturally Beastie, as the Ottomans, wants to avoid because he's got his own siege that's looking to try and push out. And I think that might be part of the reason why he's just electing here, just to go into battering rams instead, and avoiding any of those larger siege engines, because he knows the Culverin are out on the field and it's going to spoil trouble for him. All right, we'll check in on that top side as the Imperial Age comes through. Beastie sending off a 6 health Janissary to the top. You just gotta love the attention to detail here. Not a full health Janissary, one he can afford to lose. I love it. You know, this Janissary was going to be victim to a Mangonel shot, so why not? What a smart move right there. And arm numbers starting to build. Beastie immediately looking for elite upgrades. Veteran upgrades still only in for the Holy Roman Empire. Beastie trying to one-up his opponent. Janissary upgrades, 20 seconds, 35 seconds in. Also looking for the ranged armor. Still no elite upgrades just yet. Actually, I take it back. Elite spears have just come through. Actually, I think they might have already been through here. Spears are a pretty good unit, dude. I was thinking about this the other day. I feel like spears are too good. Not too good, but, you know, as soon as I get to Imperial Age, the first thing I'm researching is just, like, elite spears. Every single time. Elite spears, just because I'm always just pumping spears, right? Like, when you think about it, they're the guys heading straight into battle, so they're the ones that are going to be dying. So you want to get those guys upgraded as soon as you can so that they die less or die slower. But anyway, Beastie, not of that decision. You can see a couple of spears. Actually, I take it back. Beastie of that decision, or of that opinion. Now looking to upgrade into veteran spears. Production numbers are starting to look pretty good here for the Beast as well. Meanwhile, towards that south side, keep in mind Beastie has exhausted his gold completely. So he needs to get out into the center. There are a couple of gold veins up towards that northern side that he could look to go into. We've just heard the last Vizier point. At least I think it will be the last Vizier point for Beastie. He's got a couple of options as to how he could play it. I'd be thinking at this point, would most certainly be just looking for siege works. I think siege works, well, where you can jump in the siege engines, would be the best for him. Stonewall now going to come up on this south side. And look at this. Rack attack moving right up to this stone outside of Beastie's base. More horsemen coming in onto the top side. Rack attack really looking to play multiple angles here. Definitely not just your standard man fight down the middle. It is not just going to be, you know, everyone group mid. It is very much split push. It is very much, you know, that rat Dota that we talk about. But now, plenty of stables going to be coming up for Beastie. Looks like he might be thinking about a transition into Horseman himself. Realizing he doesn't have access to any more gold, will need to get units out that do not cost gold. Needs to make sure that his what are they called? These bad boys, right? I'm looking at them. Military schools are on gold-heavy units, which they are. We've already checked. They're on the Janissary. So that's really important to maximize your gold efficiency in that regard. But he does have all of the military schools at the front of the base. And naturally, as these big forces begin to build up, Beastie approaching that 200 population, these buildings will start to get threatened. You can see there's plenty of mangonels out. Not a whole lot of units here from the Holy Roman Empire, but to be honest, that's kind of what you expect. I like this single mango just kind of chilling out, minding his own business. Big emplacements coming through as well, which is going to make it even harder for Beastie to push in on this situation. We'll check in with Recon and see how he's doing. Stonewall's coming up on the south flank. Definitely the right call, and immediately you can see the value that Beastie's pulled from that, in that the horsemen aren't able to do any damage on that angle. And the reason why we always go for the flanks first is because it takes us longer to get down here. If Beastie wants to defend this, he's going to have to move his slow spearmen compared to his opponent's very quick horsemen. So we make sure that we wall the flanks first with stone, because that way it means that we don't have to move our slow units to cover it, because they just simply can't get there in the first place. That's the idea. Then we want to slowly come in from the outside in. Working down all this position. Great bombards are out on the field now. He's got one of them in his back pocket. Second one on the way through. He's maxed out 200 population. Ready to go. Rack attack on the other side. 197 out of 200. And neither of these players seem particularly keen about forcing a fight. Towards the top side, it looks like Beastie does get a single man-at-arm cleaned up. He's got a couple more out here as well. Yet to upgrade these bad boys to elite. We see elite horsemen also coming out. So Beastie thinking about a bit of a switch up. Have a look at this. He's got plenty of stables back here ready to go. But only 3 horsemen, or rather, am I saying horsemen? Sipahi. Only 3 Sipahi to his name at this stage of the game. Now he wants to avoid losing the military school. Really, really important we keep this alive. But it's a slow and steady grind. And it's almost like an unstoppable death push that we're witnessing here. How do you go about fighting into this from the perspective of Beastie? You can't push forward with great bombards. If you do, you're just going to get taken out by the culverin. I think trebuchets could be the right call, but then if you go into trebuchets, then it's a unit that is not really going to be too much help. He's got battering rams out, but they'll get cleaned up. Now Beastie just going to realize that, well, I've got to go and try and fight him around the backside, see if I can do any kind of damage, bring these forces back towards his own base, and then maybe I can look to challenge the front. I think he also wants to switch into the Sipahi, a unit that is quite strong. and should enable him to get in very close towards this siege. Keep in mind there is a lot of siege, and Beastie now researching biology, so definitely looking for a complete switch into Sipahi, which his opponent may not be aware of. But keep in mind, Rack Attack already has gone into elite spears. He's got 22 on the field at the moment. Now moving into elite army tactics as well, and neither of these players looks intent on committing to a fight. Both of them just playing around the edges for the moment, and it's just naturally because of how good this static defense is. It is ludicrous how good this stuff is. Like, you just can't fight into it. Emergency repairs is up here. You can see plenty. Actually, there's no emergency repairs here. That is, you got to be careful. You got to be careful. No emergency repairs. Elite Spears cleaning up all this stuff on the backside. Keep in mind, Beastie still doesn't have access to gold. He's fighting without gold at this stage of the game. Plenty of villagers on wood, on food, but nothing at the moment on gold, and it is painful, because it definitely feels like it might have been an oversight from Beastie in securing the center. Definitely had the opportunity. Could have looked for it, but I feel like maybe it would have been in vain anyway, just because you know you're up against the Holy Roman Empire. They're going to go Imperial. They're going to be able to get they're going to be able to get their bombards out, but it looks like Beastie, he's happy with the amount of Sipahi that he's got. He's going to push in through it. All of the walls get deleted. Beastie is ready to take out the great defense coming in from the Holy Roman Empire, the Giga Chad defense. He moves forward with his army, the battering rams as well, beginning to move through. Mobilization as the bombards are out. The Mango's in the back. The Sipahi going to try and find their way through, managing to get in on top of this. Plenty of villagers here to block, and block they do. Indeed do. There are three of these culverin coming out right now. Horsemen in from the north. Mangoes have done an incredible job. There's not a whole lot of units that are back here. Great bombard on the top side. More units being rallied in, and it looks like the keep will fall. With that, keep in mind there was no relic inside it, so that one relic that he's got is still safe somewhere back, but now those culverin do move forward, looking to focus down the Great Bombard. Part of the reason why, the Mango without wheels, moving down the hill. Beastie looking to try and take this game by storm, really coming out of the box as hard as he possibly can. Culverin firing off, hits the Mangonel. Plenty of culverin on that backside. Spears looking to line the front as well. Great bombards continue coming down the hill. Next outpost taken out, and now the Sipahi able to do a really good job just cleaning up all that siege. He's got to make sure that they try and stay alive. You can see he's got so many units just in here. Wonderful micro coming out from Beastie, and now it looks like he's able to overwhelm the opponent. The only issue that he's got is the Great Bombard has got so much damn health. It's able to survive through the culverin shot. Next shot, you're up, mate. The Mangonel gets taken out. Next shot, you can see he's looking. Is he working towards this one right here? I think he is. Good night, sweet prince. Beastie cleaning house with the Great Bombard. Plenty of units right now as Beastie continues to push through on this front. The men-at-arms, together with the elite spearmen, are slowly but steadily regrouping in the middle, but the Bombard is the problem. Needs to look to try and take out these siege workshops on the front. At any moment, a Springald could pop out and take out this Bombard very, very quickly. Villagers looking to try and take... Are they villagers? I think they're villagers. Great Bombard will go out. And now the men-at-arms going to force back the Janissaries together. Looks like archers are being mixed in. Keep now getting thrown down on the front. How much gold is even in here? 5k. Beastie will definitely happily take that one. More villagers joining the cause. Still, I'm not sure if he'd be... I think that's probably about the best spot you could look for it at the moment. Bombards, nowhere to be seen, but look at the battering rams coming out. Beastie might have to head back to the drawing board with regard to his unit composition. He's getting overwhelmed by the men-at-arms. Is this the Burgrave? Is the Burgrave spamming right now? Is that what we're witnessing? It is. It is. It's the Burgrave just going ham on the backline. The hero of the day, the Burgrave. Look at the military difference. 68 military for Rack Attack versus 20 for Beastie. Just as he looked to push into the middle, just as it felt like he was really overwhelming his opponent, all of a sudden, Beastie's on 128 population. Rack Attack's on 195. Where did that even come from? It is just that slow and steady push of men-at-arms. He's up to 57 men-at-arms right now, and this is the men-at-arm paradox that we always cite. The men-at-arm is countered by the crossbowmen, except when it's in a lot of numbers. When you've got 50-plus men-at-arms, nothing can kill these bad boys, because you're going to run your enemy down no matter what. You're just like a human. You just run and you run and you run, and you just always outrun your opponent. And that's exactly what happens with the men-at-arms. The huge economy behind this as well, coming in from Recon, and Recon now able to overwhelm Beastie 33 minutes into this game. Beastie looks like he could be in trouble, unable to put together a solid defense. No gold at all, and that's going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. An incredible comeback right there from Recon. I did not expect seeing that so close to the finish line. Beastie pushing through, but at the end of the day, the Burgrave was the winner out of this game. Fellas, go check him out.